All right, peace and blessings. Once again, welcome to another episode of the YB's Collaboration Corner here at Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. I am your host, Rob YB Youngblood. I'm sitting here with my guy, Ryan Bouldin, who is literally on the rise here in the Richmond, Virginia area. Ryan and I connected through a mutual organization called the Metropolitan Business League, which supports small minority women-owned organizations, individuals, to assist them with their abilities to grow their business and their brands. And so I wanted to invite Ryan on because he understands the power of collaboration. He understands the importance of supporting other individuals, and he's just a sharp guy, man. So Ryan, welcome to YB's Collaboration Corner, man. How you doing today?
Doing well, YB. Thank you for inviting me on, man. It's an honor, brother. I appreciate it.
I love it. So Ryan, let's start off with telling us a little bit about who you are. I know we're going to get into what you do with the Metropolitan Business League, but let's talk a little bit about your backstory, who you are. Tell us like where you came from, and just a little bit of insight on what you got going on, good brother.
Absolutely, man. So YB, I was born in Petersburg, Virginia, Southside Regional Hospital. Went to Manchester High School. My mother ended up moving up to Chesterfield County, so went to Manchester High School. Played football there, long-time athlete. Went to college at UVA Wise in Southwest Virginia, played football there for 4 years, 2 years, being a captain there on the football team. So I think when you kind of talk about leadership, sports was kind of my conduit, my avenue to kind of express my leadership ability. And also when we kind of talk about the collaboration aspect, being on a team, being a team player, a lot of those things and skills that I learned came from sports early on in my life. So, you know, I kind of got to give that credit to sports just for kind of shaping me into the person that I am. It just allowed me to work in today's times, you know, because now more than ever, collaboration is necessary. But yeah, after leaving college, had a lot of chance to be in great corporate environments. I started off my career in enterprise rent-a-cars management trainee program. So just being able to get kind of thrown into the fire of corporate America and corporate management and leadership. Then I was able to have an opportunity to work in the marketing and business development department at GE Lighting, which is another Fortune 500 company. So, you know, even learning that environment, being able to mold my skills and professionalism with some great mentors in that aspect helped me out a lot. And then that served as an opportunity for me to go into the field that I'm in now, professionally, which is supply chain and logistics. Had an opportunity to work for Target Corporation for 2 years as an operations manager there. And as people know, being in a continuous improvement environment, it's every day you're looking to get 1% better. And a lot of those fundamentals that I learned there, I was able to apply to my own personal life, because it's like my whole logic was if I'm going to make a company 1% better every day, then I better be making myself 1% better every day. Yeah. So, you know, I kind of use that as kind of the foundation for my life skills and my own self-improvement. And then after leaving there, I had another opportunity to be a general manager at a warehouse here in Richmond, Virginia, for a fashion company, need supply company. With that, unfortunately, due to COVID, a lot of businesses were shut down. So I had an opportunity to be on that and be able to see, you know, smaller companies and how they were impacted by things such as COVID. And then I had an opportunity to work at car lots as fate would have it. Met Mr. Floyd Miller through a friend of mine, Antonio Miller, who introduced me to you, YB. And then, you know, our relationship was able to blossom since there from the meeting that we had. And then I was able to get back into my field of supply chain and logistics. I now serve as operations manager at CJ Logistics here in Chester, Virginia, where we do third-party logistics for Altria. So still back in the big corporate, big box retail setting. And also you mentioned the Metropolitan Business League. I serve as the chair of the Millennial Board. And being able to support women and minority-owned businesses is something that is passionate to me because my mother is a small woman and minority-owned business owner. You know, my mother has her own business. She's an author. And just seeing how small businesses, the biggest things that we're lacking is access to proper resources and capital, and also just the network, you know. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've really seen is the power of a network. And, you know, people have the cliche, your network is your net worth. And that is so true. Yeah. Because it's a lot of things, and YB, you know this firsthand, that it's being able to know somebody can get you in a room that your money can't get you in, right? So being able to pick up a phone call for a favor, hey, I need this, I need to make this introduction. that's priceless. You can't really put a price on that. So just at this point in my career right now, man, just focus on being a servant of others, being a father, being a husband, being a man of God, and just trying to take those things and being able to spread that to others in any way I can.
Yeah, I love your energy, man. And I think from day one, when we first met, I saw that you had something special on you, man. You're humble, but driven. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't more about, how could you get? It was like, how could you give, man? And I think that's so amazing. So talk a little bit about the NBL. Let's go a little bit deep. What is the NBL? What does it stand for? I know we don't know. We mentioned it earlier, but let's talk a little bit about what is the NBL? What is the bridge? And you mentioned you being the chair of that or of that particular organization. Talk a little bit about that as well.
Absolutely. So the NBL is a legacy organization that's been around for 50 years, advocating for small women and minority-owned businesses here in the metropolitan region of Central Virginia. The bridge is actually the junior board or the millennial board. So what we do is we advocate and support millennial business owners in the age group of 24 to 35 in their endeavors. And what we do is basically we support and show off the resources, the network, the tools that the NBL offers to small women and minority-owned businesses. And for right now, we have a board, and I have to make sure that I mention them. I have a board of 14 members, incredibly talented, diverse, powerful individuals who just make everything go. I do serve as a chair, but how I look at it is it's not just I'm on this top spot as the chair. I serve my board. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm nothing without them. So I think that goes back to the power of teamwork. One thing that me and Antonio Miller, who I look at, is he's my vice chair, but he's my right-hand man. We built a legitimate team of great professionals from all different skill sets, So, and I think one thing about just being in that kind of leadership position is you can be intimidated by people being smarter than you. Right. And that was one of my aims, is to find people that are more intelligent than me in different fields, whether that's finance and fundraising, whether that's marketing, whether that's programming, just people who understand different endeavors that can kind of help us push the agenda even further.
Yeah, I like that, man. I like that. I became a member of the NBL when I transitioned to entrepreneurship, and then decided to come back once, I connected with Floyd. Floyd is a phenomenal guy. I've got to get Floyd on YB's Collaboration Corner as well, man, because he's got a phenomenal skill set and a phenomenal story. So how do you define success? Like, what's your definition of success, and would you define yourself as successful?
I would define success as being able to control the things that I can control within my daily life, and taking advantage of opportunities. I look at that as success. And if I would consider myself successful, I've got to be honest with you, YB, I'm my own toughest critic, right? So, and I have, lofty aspirations for myself. So I wouldn't say I'm there yet, but I'm someone who's always striving to get there, in terms of being I look at success as something that's a pinnacle, but I also look at it as something that I'm constantly striving for. So I can't say that I am successful, but I would say that I'm headed in that direction, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. And it's actually a good segue to another question. So how do you then prepare for success? So if you, and I totally understand what you're saying, because like you see it as the pinnacle. So if in your mind it's the pinnacle, how do you prepare for success?
My biggest thing, man, is approaching every day with a great attitude, great effort, and really being able to build great relationships, right? Like constantly improving on myself spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, just trying to be a well-rounded human being so that when opportunities present themselves, I'm not only in the right position, but I'm the right person for those opportunities. And, even at the age that I'm at now, I've kind of had a diverse range of experiences, right? And I've had the opportunity to be around a lot of great mentors who've been able to give me great advice. So with that, people say wise beyond your years or different things like that. I think I'm just the benefit of great mentorship and people pouring into me. So just being just staying humble, man, and getting better and taking advantage of where I'm at right now, being where my feet are. And when those opportunities present themselves, just making sure I'm the right guy for that opportunity.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So how how would you define collaboration, and how important is collaboration? How would you define collaboration, and how important is collaboration?
I would define collaboration as being able to work with others to achieve a common goal. And I think collaboration is imperative. And I mentioned the sports aspect, man. Playing football for years, I played slot receiver, and the thing of it is a slot receiver, you can't do anything if you don't have a quarterback, right? So the whole relationship is predicated on collaboration. Yeah. So I can't get the ball to do what I need to do unless you pass it to me. Quarterback can't pass the ball unless the offensive line blocks, right? So even comparing that to the business setting or working on an executive board, right? Everybody has their role to play, but no one's able to really be successful in what they do without someone else. Right. So I think just collaboration is extremely imperative. Communication, trust. And one thing, man, that I think in our relationship is vulnerability, right? Like being able to be vulnerable, that gives you an ultimate power, because now someone else is able to open up and really be themselves and express how they feel. And that just allows the relationship to blossom and things to move forward faster than it does with pride and ego.
Yeah, I love that, man. So let's talk a little bit about that, because we were talking about it before we got on the line and hit the record. We talked about a situation between you and me, you know what I'm saying, and how the relationship came to be. So let's go a little deeper into that. Like, talk a little bit about that from your perspective in terms of, number one, collaboration, but then the relationship aspect, and then being vulnerable, and transparent as it pertains to how we were positioned within the NBL.
Absolutely, man. And me coming into the NBL, my initial role was as vice chair to you, and you serving as the chair, right? And you've seen so many organizations, and unfortunately with people of color, right? Like, you go into these situations and one person doesn't want to see the other person excel, or they feel threatened by another person. And for you, man, you just took the totally opposite approach, taking me under your wing. And I mentioned to you before, like, that time we were at Chick-fil-A, you even told me, and this is when I knew you were a man of your word. You were like, I got a book for you, I'm gonna mail it to you. And you sent me The Secret to Success by Eric Thomas, man, a book that really changed my life and changed my perspective. So, just that conversation that I was able to have with you, what you were able to pour into me by telling me your story, I was able to tell you mine. I just think that formed a genuine connection. And I remember even a couple months after that, or probably maybe even a year after that, right? Like, when I was already working in the bridge and kind of established in the NBL, we met at Kickback Jacks again, just to catch up, just to talk. You know what I mean? And I think that level of mentorship, that level of just pouring into somebody, man, I think for you, that's what makes you so special. And, you always have a place in my heart just for the things that you were able to do for me, and how you were just giving me the space to shine and be myself. And I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I just want people to know this is not about me, but I want you to understand that the collaboration that we're talking about is not just surface, right? It's an opportunity for you to go deeper. It might seem like you are taking a step back, or if you might be losing, when in actuality you're winning. You know what I mean? You're winning. I want nothing more than to see brothers like Ryan succeed, because when he succeeds, I'm successful, right? And I want to encourage you that you are a success, right? You are a success from the standpoint of being a father to your children, of being a husband to your wife, you know what I'm saying? Of being able to maintain a 14 person board. Bro, we didn't have 14 people when we first got started. You know what I'm saying? So that is success. And I think what true success is, and I want to encourage you, because sometimes we may set the bar so super high that we feel we're not where we need to be, when we're exactly where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? We're exactly where we need to be. And we just got to set one more notch up so we keep moving forward. Life is about progression. I'm reading a book, and I'm recommending this book to everybody that I know, especially those who are in sales. You mentioned The Secret to Success by Dr. Thomas, but this book is called Go for No, which was written by Andrea Waltz, and there was another gentleman who contributed to the book as well. And it talks about the importance of seeing failure the right way. Right. So most people will look at, if you drew a line, right? And for those of you who are listening, you're not able to see me do this, but if you draw a line on a sheet of paper and you put a dot in the middle of the line, to the left is failure, to the right is success. And so most people invest the majority of their life avoiding failure to get to success. So instead of them going to the left, which is where failure is, they spend their time going to the right to get to success. But in actuality, in order to get to success, you have to go through failure. Right? You have to go through failure.
Yeah.
Failure is where you learn. So talk a little bit about that. What have been, maybe a setback or two that you've learned from as you were building collaborative relationships? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would say that, man, and YB just being married for 5 years, being young and being married, I would kind of put it at that, right? Like every day you don't win at marriage, right? It's times where, you'll make your wife upset, right? She may make you upset, or you guys have disagreements. And a lot of times you'll almost fail as a husband to get better, because I think, as you mentioned, the point is to keep going. The point is to keep progressing and getting better. So I think that a lot of my collaboration, a lot of my just skills in terms of working with other people have come from being able to work with my wife.
Right.
Because, it's times where I got to put that ego to the side. I got to put that pride to the side for the greater good, which is our marriage.
Yeah.
So I think being able to take that from, a personal relationship and then use that same thing in professional relationships.
Yeah.
I have to be humble. If I'm dealing with you and we have a relationship and you may not do something that I don't like, I'm not just going to end the relationship. I'm not just going to move forward. I'm going to figure out how we can fix it and improve on it to make it better.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people throw relationships away just because of disagreements or, minor things, when it's like, this can be repaired and we can move forward. So I think that's the biggest thing that I kind of learned is just from being a husband more than anything else.
Yeah, I like that, man. I like that. So as we land the plane, you mentioned your mom is an author.
Yeah.
I need to get her on my podcast. So help me make that happen. But in that same lane, you seen your mom being an author. Have you ever considered becoming a published author at all?
Honestly, it's something that I really would like to do. It's one of those bucket list goals long term, because I know we haven't gotten too deep, but man, I just got a deep story, man. I know we've kind of talked about it and touched on it, and it's something that I would want to really get down on paper, because I feel like it could help a lot of people, right? Like a lot of young people, because I've been through a lot of things that Google couldn't help me with, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't Google this, or how do I do this, or how do I get out of that? Yeah. So I feel like it could be a real blueprint for some young kids to just kind of keep the proper perspective regardless of the things that life throws at you.
Yeah, so, I like that, man. I like that. So that we got something else to talk about after this call, after this session. Yeah. But so I asked this question of everybody that comes on my podcast, on my show. If I were, if me and my team were going to, let's say, pay for you to go anywhere in the world to write your first book, right? So you hadn't published a book yet, but you were about to. You say, I'm ready to go. If my team and I were able to give you an expense account and let you travel anywhere in the world, you can take your wife if you want to, take your kids if you want to, where would you go?
That's a good one. Man, YB, you gotta think you might be stumped on this one.
Come on.
I would
don't be the first one to get. Don't be the first one to get stumped.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the place that I would really go is, it would be Dominican Republic, right? Like that's where my wife's family is from. Okay. That's where my in-laws are from. And to be able to connect with them and connect with the people there, I have just a huge connection to the Hispanic community, just through my wife, who's Dominican and Colombian. So that would probably be the place for me, just because I love the people, I love the culture. And I think that if I had an expense account there, I think it'll be a beautiful place to write the first story. Yeah.
Oh man, we had to make sure we load up that expense account, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That's good. That's awesome, right, man. That's awesome. So as we wrap up, man, tell us, how can people connect with you? I mean, you do a lot in the community. You've done some leadership development initiatives. You're doing some work with the Metropolitan Business League. How can people connect with you and collaborate with you?
Absolutely. So you can reach me at LinkedIn at www.linkedin.com/Ryan Bouldin. That's RyanBouldin. So you can definitely reach me there. My Instagram is @Bouldin. It's my last name. There's periods between each letter. So you can follow me there as well. And as far as our website, you can reach us at mblbridge.com just to see the things that we have going on in the nonprofit space. So yeah, absolutely. Those are the biggest things for people to reach me. And I would just say for people out there, YB, and I want to appreciate you for giving me the platform, and just tell people, even in the times that we're in right now, to just protect your mind and protect your peace. I think that's imperative at these moments.
Oh man, true wisdom from a scholar. I was about to say a young scholar, but you're a scholar nonetheless, man. And so godly proud of you, man. Keep the hammer down and the faith up. And for those of you who are listening, definitely connect with this brother, especially if you're in the Central Virginia area. Maybe you may be a part of a leadership organization and want to learn from him, or you may want to provide some insights and tips to help him grow. But either way, as you go through life, I want you to be encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, share the faith. And the way that you do that is by walking in your gift. And remember, your gift will make room for you. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.